Well, it's all right. Because I asked her today if she had meeting minutes copy, and she said no, so I figured. And this one.
So you might just want to organize your stuff just so that we can go
Right.
down the line. In my packet, you have the meeting minutes, you have the management financial, and then you have the suspension for selection, the list in there.
Linda, and sign up.
And
To sign up or just sign it?
No,
Just
just
to
to
speak.
speak,
There's
so
nothing to say.
you're on the agenda, so.
Oh, it does.
and then I brought this for you. To remind you.
Dawn wants to weigh on this because he said he's going to ask them about this cost.
Okay, so, okay, that's fine. I didn't
Yeah.
know, so there's nothing.
No, okay, you can put it on there.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, we did, I saw it, and we were trying to say, I was there, so I'm assuming things are red.
So after the suspension of the rights, you should put this rules and regulations updated.
What we're gonna do is have,
I am Vanessa with Legal Management.
So I gave her.
Are you going to direct traffic committee or is
I think she's gonna.
Well, actually, this looks like, on this one.
oh, no, yeah, he is. The triangle, yes.
So how do you want to?
Yeah, we'll just go to the agenda, he's gonna handle any comments.
Because this is the.
What we'll do is change this right, because we weren't sure what time they were gonna do this. After we call the order, we notice and all that, before we read the minutes, we can let him do this, because they had another pool crisis somewhere. They have another.
Are you reading the minutes?
Do you wanna read the minutes, or you want Vanessa to read them?
We'll do him first, right?
Yes.
That's too low.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I'm glad they are telecast. How many do we have so far dialing in?
I have no idea.
Last one was 330, 330.
330? Good. Excellent.
Well, we can hold that right in here.
No?
All I do is that she carved it. Because no one has caught an accident. Because I'm like, she has the accident.
We've got 1 minute.
So I don't know if it was her fault. What happened?
This goes here.
Ironman, she's been training for.
You have 2 sets of minutes, so just
You have the
pull one
agenda?
of them out.
I wasn't in this packet.
I think you got it. But that's it.
In there, I didn't realize Vanessa was bringing this too, so you've got 2 sets of minutes, so just pull one of them out.
That's like just fortunate.
Yep.
This is the second series.
Is it here?
Oh, good.
Thank you.
I printed it out. Did she print out another?
Evidently. Yeah. I know. Okay, he's got it.
And we have an extra.
The sign up is over there.
Oh, you keep, I keep
We're waiting.
She's starting to do away.
Okay, that's great.
I missed that.
I thought you could wait.
I didn't want to go to.
Okay, we're ready? We could Skype.
We could be together.
Let's do it, who gets Skype? I can Skype on my phone, on my iPad, and on computer. I can Skype all day.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call to order. And we do have a quorum present. It was noticed, it was at least 72 hours ahead of time. And before we get to the reading of the minutes and everything, we're gonna go ahead and let one stop. We're gonna move the agenda item under new business, number 1, to discuss the pool repairs that we have to do, because they have another pool crisis somewhere, so we're gonna let him speak and then, so he can leave. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you want to?
I'd like to introduce Jim Kemmy from One Stop Pool Pros.
I don't know which way to face.
Well, actually, the meeting is being sent over the internet, so that little computer's also.
Do you want to stand?
You wanna stand
up
over
front
here?
so everybody at home can
You
see?
at home can
That's
see
right.
it too.
It's Jim Kemmy. Thank you very much for having us here. We do appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate being in the community and servicing you guys. Very much value building a relationship. I know a lot of people by name, only a couple of faces, that people in the community that we do know because we're dealing with. And I apologize if some of you are sitting right here. Judy, Ricardo, Omar, I know that's all part of your property management maintenance staff there. And of course, Paulette and Don Hanson, which Don helped give us the opportunity after checking our 14 references or whatever. So I know that this guy is a very knowledgeable man, and he knows an awful lot about your pool. We've had a couple of minor crises to services here recently, if you will, and led to a number of impromptu shutdowns at the pool and the splash pad. They came kind of close together, and I just wanted to assuage any concerns and address any issues that you might have. The most significant being your backpack tank flooded. Okay. And it cost 2 motors, which we were able to provide relatively quickly, and we passed on at cost to the community. This was a matter of a 1/4-inch tube, believe it or not, failing, and over a period of less than 24 hours, probably pumped out at least 2 gallons per minute, giving us over 10 hours. That's your first 1,200 gallons over 20 hours. It was discovered, well, 2 things. One was good that it was discovered on a day that we ordinarily wouldn't be providing service. The reason we had to provide service that day, however, was responding to a low pH in the pool, which subsequently, this time the pH issue in the pool, it also had to do with the flood, because that pump stopped working as well. So that was part of the issue. There is a fail-safe, if you will, a sump pump installed, really just meant to get groundwater and small leaks, that sort of thing, we would take care of. In this case, the sump pump either was stuck and it failed when it was stuck, or it just couldn't keep up with the flow. For instance, the 8-inch punch that are inside that tank that connect to the pumps, had they gone, that sump pump is installed by design, could never possibly hold up. So this leak was just simply too great for a sump pump and caused it to short out by the time it got to GFI, or the armature stuck in the first place. The floating device, if you will, kind of stuck there. So that pump has also been replaced at the direction of your board of directors, and so we're there. We're on it. In addition, we were lucky we came out and we found that the low pH, somebody called measuring, or the car or MR measuring, and saw the low pH, brought it to our attention. What we're proposing, because we really want the community to be happy, comfortable, enjoy the pool, is we're going to upgrade your chemical controller, take advanced computers, Wi-Fi, and we'll have this information real time right at my desk. So even though we're over there in Claremont, but we're in Tallahassee, we're in Jacksonville, we're in Sarasota, we're all over the place. So we'll be able to see it real time right in Claremont. We would have been able to respond that much faster. So that's what we're proposing, and that's what we'd like to do. And we really want you guys to be happy. We truly do. So if there's any more additional concerns I'm not aware of, anything going on with our service personnel, we're out here pretty frequently. From the very first weekend we took this over, I had Ricardo's phone number in my cell phone the very first weekend. So,
Jim, regarding the Wi-Fi, it goes right to your desk, but suppose it's like after hours, after 6 p.m. when you go home. Does it go right to your cell phone?
that's a really good question. We can absolutely forward it onto the world with the smartphones. So we can absolutely forward it on that way. Absolutely.
But none of us are going to be able to do anything.
We also, when people do have things, we do have an after hours, 800 emergency numbers, 888 actually, and it gets forwarded. So, and that goes right to the owner of the company. And he only lives about 4 miles from me. So yeah. So,
But now, could the Wi-Fi be set up to go to that 800 number as opposed to going to one of us first? Or
I'm going to take that and look into it. Yeah. That's right. Absolutely.
that'd be helpful. I'd feel a little more comfortable with that.
Yeah, I would too.
Because like if we're sleeping or something, it's like some of us are our phones off. I don't know.
Well, I put mine on do not disturb. Do you know about when that Wi-Fi system is going to be put in, or do you know when approximately?
I would think about that on the way over here, 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
You could have that in. Now that's about a $3,000 expense that we're just to advise you guys. That's what we're going to do to make that happen.
Okay.
And your system here actually does work fine. We just want to assuage those concerns. But yeah.
Well,
It wouldn't be the same reading.
we panicked. I panicked because of Labor Day coming.
Well, so did we. We were very concerned had to pull up for the weekend.
No, regarding that 1/4 inch line, I guess that caused the problem and stuff, just where the tube failed. Is that just due to age or something like that?
Well, this particular polygon tubing, okay, and there are 2 kinds out there. There's really not a difference between whether it's a black tubing or a clear tubing, which we call white tubing. It's typically replaced about annually in most cases, and it will just crack with age, whether it's varying degrees of sunlight and use. If there's too little chemical going through it, it can clog, and that can change things. Just ordinary flexing, ordinary stress. And yeah, about 12 months is what we expect out of it. So we try to replace them. And we replace most of the tubing that's out there. And this particular piece of tubing was replaced at the time the chemical controller was installed, along with the new chemical dosing pumps. This particular one. This is most unusual. I've never come across one of this just happening inside a tank. This is a very unusual situation. It was what.
Did you date and tag those as to when you replace them, or how do you keep records of that?
I did not.
Yeah.
It did,
That might be.
Typically, we know by invoicing or date of installation that we would have had, that it's not marked on your equipment. In your case, what Don's assistants, when we put together the contract, we said, anytime a little leak comes up on these kind of things, we're not building on Don, we're not building the community, we're just going ahead and changing out whatever's failing.
Okay.
And the fail lines, obviously, what it goes to. Yeah.
Okay, so seeing how that tube was replaced at the time of the installation of the controllers and stuff like that, is there any way you can kind of work with us and stuff? I mean, when you warranty your labor and material, don't you? Or not?
Oh, absolutely. So the tubing, there's no charge for it. The new chemical controller we're putting in, there's no charge for it. The pumps that motors were replaced before at cost. We did that at cost. Labor, labor. But yeah, no, there's no charge for, what somebody was just put in 4 or 5 months ago, and, you know, it's.
Right, now we can just say labor.
And we wouldn't
So
do
we are gonna charge for
No,
labor.
only on, I'm sorry, only on motor installation, only on motor replacement.
Right, the motor being replaced with something else.
Motor being replaced with 2 though. That's accurate. That's accurate. But
So I'm just thinking, from my point of view, I'm hearing everything you're saying and stuff. It sounds like the motors failed because the tubing failed, which was brand new at the time of installation of all this stuff. And we appreciate the fact that he gave us motors at cost. But the labor, it seems like.
right, but simultaneously, we had a sump pump that one, whether it failed at this level or whether it failed at this level, I don't know. Yeah, good.
It just sounded like it all initiated with the failure of the tubes, you know, or the
It
new
did
tube.
work.
Yeah.
It did. Subsequent flooding, when it's a certain level, there's no more
I'm just
interest.
asking point blank, is there any way we can tweak this?
Yeah, I mean, can you use that?
Yeah, you're right,
I mean,
so roundabout way, but I'm just asking.
You know, I'm just
Is there any way
looking, I'm just
we
looking,
can
you
go
could,
like-
yeah,
Yeah,
because
if
it just
not-
seems like, you know, we're not experts in this, you're the
Yeah.
experts and stuff, and, you know, we rely upon you folks, you know, because it drive us to stuff. I don't even know how much was the labor, I mean, what kind of dollars we got. They
It's
don't have
35,
labor.
yeah, we do, it's, 3,500.
35 and 36.
I feel a lot comfortable paying something less than that.
The labor on the tube,
No,
no, that was total with material.
Yeah, that's the total.
Yeah, that was
For
with
the two
share steel,
motors and the sump
with
pump.
gaskets.
Yeah, the installation.
The motors themselves were about 800 plus tax whatever each.
Okay, so that's $1,600 out of $3,200, so we got billed for $1,600 labor. And, you know, we're looking for a long-term relationship with you folks, and we made a big jump from one company to you guys, because you came highly recommended. And I would just hope that you meet us halfway on that, you know. If you could carve $800 out, I feel more comfortable about paying these things.
I would
you
certainly
have the
bring
ability
that,
to do
I
that?
would certainly bring it to the, for the owners, at that time.
Okay. You know, and my recommendation is that we do not go forward with this Wi-Fi unless we can have it go to the 100 number, you know. I just don't feel
Before
comfortable.
we go any further, let me step away from the camera, I'll make a note of that right now, so do not want to forget that.
All right, please. So. No, I'm just hoping that, you know, you just stand behind your work and stuff like that. So those are two things that make me feel a lot more comfortable. That's a good recommendation for us to more into it.
I like that better.
Yeah.
I think that maybe participating in it since it was.
Oh, and I'd be glad to talk to your boss, you know, unless you have the authority to make that decision.
This is our trash.
You know,
Yeah, figure it out.
this is why he's our treasurer.
Yeah.
He's the squeaky wheel.
Well, and you'll have to- Don't pretend that. Can't WP for you. Out of pocket. You got the stuff like that, you know.
Well, Jim's writing that up.
What are you asking for in Jack?
Okay, two things. Number one, it would be great if we can get the Wi-Fi controller set up that it goes to Jim's desk or one of his assistants during the daytime up until, I don't know, 5, 6 p.m. But then after hours, if we could go to the 1-800 number so that if we do have a leak off hours, someone gets notified and we have an emergency team coming out. Would they actually come out or?
Does their
or
team
is
also
it a call
get
service?
in?
Answering service.
No, it's us.
It's you.
Oh, it's
someone's
us.
going to get a call.
Well, would you respond then by the next morning? You would already know that there was a problem and be out there the
If
next
the,
morning.
if the trouble was truly as simple as the pH was incorrect,
Yeah.
it would be the next morning thing.
Yeah.
If there were other symptoms and there are other indications of a bigger problem.
Bigger problem.
I mean, is the Wi-Fi, I don't know anything about Wi-Fi controllers, but would it be able to diagnose the problem? Like, would you know that something was flooding?
Essentially, it's a repeater, and this would have turned us on to it sooner. That's all we would just had the information sooner. And then we did get out here as quickly as we could, and then we found out about it.
Yeah, because
Because most of the time, it's not like an emergency call that they have to come out.
yeah, nobody's not an emergency. You know, I'd like them to be here early in the morning when the chemicals are off.
Right.
Because staff can check chemicals and they can do some of the chemicals, but the pool's so big, they can't add, they can call them and they can tweak the controller and all, but if it's bad, they can't add enough chemicals to the big pool, so. Plus that, they would never come during the night unless they got one of us, because their key doesn't have the access. You, and Linda's always up.
You can.
They don't go to bed till.
Yeah.
And that works fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm a morning person.
Jim, do you normally out here how often each week?
In the 3 days, with Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well, at a minimum, we're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at a minimum.
They've been out here many more times, though, than
Well,
3
hopefully we're
times
not
a
like
week.
a deal in this situation.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this takes care of it. We got the sump pump, the motors, and they're gonna be watching for these tubes. And I'm hoping the staff will be able to watch the tubes. I mean, I don't know. I don't
How
know
often
if
do
those
you
tubes-
check
They're
those?
checked every visit.
Okay.
I ask them to switch them every 6 months. I panic
I mean,
now.
to prevent something like this.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
want to
not.
avoid that kind of stuff.
I definitely want to avoid that.
Yeah.
Because I want people to use the pool. That's what it's here for, you know.
And just, if you can see yourself clear through, crediting us 800 towards future services or something, that would be awesome. I know we will.
You are a negotiator, all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I appreciate it. Well, I shouldn't expect anything less. I should deal with Don. I shouldn't expect anything less.
He's our engineer.
Yeah.
He's very detailed and stuff, so.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. I interrupted your presentation.
No, I appreciate that. It's really just addressing any issues that you guys have.
At this time, I'll take a minute and introduce David Mitchell. Over here, he's going to be our facilitator for our public comment section of anything, and we're going to do it a little bit different. After each thing, we're going to have everybody, if they want to make comments or anything on the agenda item.
We got 3 minutes, right?
Yeah. And he'll do that. David, you want to kind of
Yeah.
talk about yourself a minute? And then, well, no, he's not done.
Let's do this.
Because we're going to see
Yeah.
then.
How about we ask if anybody has questions for the
Yes,
vendor
yes,
first,
yes.
and then we can go on
Okay.
to the other stuff. Does anybody from the audience have a question for the vendor?
Yeah,
Dan?
I'd like to know, you put those pumps in how many months ago?
The static pumps?
The ones where they were before?
I'm sorry.
You put in 2 pumps recently, you just said,
Oh,
for
they're motors.
the motors. When did you put those in?
Last
Thing.
Wednesday and Thursday?
Did you put the ones in before that as well?
No. Oh, that's not accurate. The one motor, we absolutely did. When we first took over, the valve door motor that was out there was changed out.
So we replaced that motor twice.
Yes,
And when was that?
that is accurate. I would say in the April timeframe.
April?
That's about right now.
And what was the cost at that time for that?
More of May.
More of May.
Yeah.
So what did we pay for it at that time?
About $700 or $800. Is that
Plus labor?
That's correct.
Probably another $800 in labor. We paid $1,600 for 2.
That's correct.
So is that the one that failed?
That's correct.
That's one.
They both failed. And the very first thing that we did was look into warranty from each of the manufacturers. There are 2 different motor manufacturers. One being Valdor, one being, why am I forgetting, Century. There was a Century motor. And neither manufacturer said, hey, once you're on the border, there was a process for drying the motors out. The manufacturer did not recommend it. But one of them said, try this company over here in Tampa, whatever, give them a shot if you want to. But it's like 50-50 or less. We went through the process, and the cost was $800+ to go through the baking process and doing it, which for when we can get your motor at that cost, there was no point to going through that process. Plus, it would have taken maybe 3 weeks, and this is much more rapid turnaround.
Well, we need a much better guarantee that we're not going to replace motors every 3 months, first of all. And I can tell you, you've got a lot of unhappy people in this community, because every time you turn on, it cools down for one reason or
Just
another.
stick to the question.
He was talking about he wanted to keep us happy, and that's why I'm on the question.
I do.
You got a lot of unhappy people, because every time you turn on, the chemicals are off, this is off, that's off, the pool's low. What are you going to do to fix that?
In the case of the splash pad, because that's...
No, the pool was low.
The pool is-
Every time you turn on, the pool's down.
Well, that's what you put in the
I
Wi-Fi.
can't. That's where the Wi-Fi is coming in on that monitoring. The only other thing I want to put on the splash pad is when, should we get to the point of putting in a timer, an automated timer to, instead of running 12 hours or 8 hours or whatever splash pad is running at right now, that would make a big difference in keeping the chemicals in balance. When you have a 15 or 30 minute, you automatically turn it on, or it's a sensor, whatever, and the committee already has the proposals on that, a couple different proposals to help with that. I'm very confident that you're not gonna have any problems with the pool for a very long time.
What guarantees do we get that we're not gonna be buying another motor in 3 months? Because we keep playing this game all year long and we turn around and keep breaking.
No.
We could have some type of guarantee, because that's $1,600 in 3 months.
This
We
is
pay for the
very,
same motor.
very unusual. This just doesn't happen.
Again, what kind of guarantees can we have this, we're not gonna be doing this in 3 months? Are there any?
Relative to normal operations, I wouldn't expect any issues whatsoever. Everything that we do is a 12-month warranty on parts and labor. If we did it in its whole normal conditions, it's the outside, whether it's a natural disaster, whatever. I'm not looking for wiggle room or make excuses. I'm just trying to be realistic and as direct as possible. Okay. But yeah, whatever we do is always at least a 12-month warranty on everything we do.
I'm hoping the Wi-Fi is gonna catch it
So
soon.
that's going to catch it. This
To
will
keep
not-
it from,
The
This will not
Wi-Fi is
be
gonna
an issue.
hopefully catch it sooner so that we won't have that deep of water. You know, when we get to work done, and when the staff gets to work, we're hoping the Wi-Fi, if it does start leaking, they're gonna know.
No, we're trying to find things and fix them and recommend them. The blower, Don's
Yeah.
very familiar with.
I think what Danny's trying to say is, since you replaced the tubes, you replaced the motors, are we good for the next 12 months? And if this thing floods again, are you gonna cover the cost of that repair?
We gotta have some guarantees for something. We're just gun shy right now.
I understand. Let me get the owner to put a guarantee in writing for you that says we'll take care of it.
Okay.
If we're operating and nobody else is inside the backpack and it's just us.
you're the only ones.
And we got cameras all over, so if anybody gets in there, we're gonna know.
And they can't, 'cause it's locked, the bullpen's locked.
This bullpen is locked and we're on camera.
Are there any other questions for the vendor from the audience?
Yes.
Yes, sir, in the back.
What is the average lifespan of one of these motors?
Oh, in excess of 5 years.
5 years.
In excess of, yeah. And you have Wake motors now and they're very good.
Go ahead.
If I'm understanding correctly, you installed this motor back in April or May, replaced the PVC pipe in, and now that pipe failed. They're saying you're giving us a 12-month warranty on parts and labor. We got 2 months from the last installation, now we're putting the whole new motor in again, and the second one because that part failed. What happened there?
It wasn't the big PVC pipe, it's a smaller tube, which, yes, we did install.
Okay.
That felt, and because of this situation and the questions that are coming up here, that is why we're going to go back and say, let's go with the 12 months, let's go with the $800 credit that the treasurer's asking for. So this is why I'm taking you back to the owner and go there on top of we want to install the monitoring system.
I understand that. My situation is right now we just paid $3,200 because that's something that we paid $1,600 for 2 months ago. So I don't see a reason why we need to pay anything if you have a 12-month warranty on your parts and labor.
Well, that wasn't,
You know that you
except for flooding. Right, exactly.
it's flooded because one of your parts failed.
Actually, it could be, again, I'm just trying to be as direct as possible. Actually,
I'm not trying to beat you up, don't get me wrong.
that's okay, I understand. Had the sump pump not failed, it wasn't just the tubing that failed. The tubing, after the tubing fails, the sump pump is supposed to kick in. It was not going to, whether it just stuck or could not keep up, I don't know for sure. I know that the one that's in there now that's tested, we took the garden hose that's closest to it and ran it, and the current sump pump will keep up with the garden hose. It'll get to be about a foot, 18 inches high, if that, and it stops right there at that level. And the garden hose cannot get ahead of the sump pump that's currently installed. So it's been tested, and also at the request of the board, we're going to test the sump pump regularly. So we'll put that on our weekly to have that test as well, to help this not happen. So,
Okay. Another question, the Wi-Fi. Does it just tell you what the chemicals balance is in the pool, or does it tell you if there's a leak in the pool?
it's going to repeat everything that's there right now, so it would not tell me if there were a leak in the pool.
It will not tell you
It
if
would
there's
not
a
tell me
leak.
if there was a leak.
Okay, so it's basically just for chemicals. So if it has a
So
leak,
it's repeating and telling us about a chemical issue, which has been the most problematic issue, your pH and your chlorine. those levels are the most problematic.
Okay, so if another PVC pipe fills, it's not gonna tell you that a PVC pipe filled.
It
and
would
that
just start
department
to
is
dosing
closed.
too fast. See, some of the things that happen with these chemical dosing pumps that going through the controllers, the automation.
Okay.
If they're working, if something fails on it and it pumps out 100 doses and there's no change on the outlet side, no change in the pool condition, it shuts itself down. And these are some of the calls we would get. And that could happen for a variety of reasons. That could be a crack too. That could be a leak, a chemical leak. That could be you're not a chemical. So if the pump's trying to dose, the sensor is dosed 100 times with no change in the outlet in the pool condition, then it automatically shuts itself down. It doesn't automatically turn itself back on. It has to be reset. So that in that case, the repeater would help us.
Does anybody else have questions for the vendor?
And what was the cost for the installation of the Wi-Fi?
Not for it won't be any cost to you.
No problem.
It's about $300 to do for us.
Do we have that repeater installed out here now? Yeah, that one.
No. I think Jane just mentioned it, but I don't know that.
I don't think
What do you mean, like on the patio there?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
they were talking about putting one in, you know, like, to extend the, Wi-Fi service.
Somebody told me it wasn't power repeater. I'm not sure what it's called. Is it called a repeater? Okay.
Jim, I think we need to test to see if we do something out there that we can actually get the signal without putting in a repeater. We had a repeater board we put out on the patio, so we would help that. If we can't get the signal.
Well, I can get a bit of a signal out there. It's just that, I don't get the top, I don't know how,
Top bar.
I don't get the top bar for the Wi-Fi.
Is Jeff Cypress?
No. Oh, I don't know. But I'm just wondering if we need that repeater to make this thing work. So it's
Need to test the Wi-Fi strength.
Yeah, so we gotta test the Wi-Fi. Because I could get Wi-Fi, I tested the other one out there, I could get it, but I don't have strong enough. I mean, I could get on it, I could get it and stuff. It's weak. But I don't know how much Wi-Fi it actually is. But we can definitely get the repeater or whatever. And have someone install, I know nothing about repeater.
I don't see any other questions.
Are you good?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And if other things come up in email, please.
Back to us with all that. Yeah.
We're gonna leave?
Yes.
Next Tuesday? Next Tuesday? Yeah. Before?
I'll tell Don Thursday, it's Friday.
Okay.
Yes, we'll be back to you pretty promptly.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, we have one more question.
I'm sorry. And maybe I'm not understanding this. So the PVC pipe that you installed over flooded, and then the sub pump couldn't keep up with what the PVC pipe that you installed didn't take care of to begin with, and then the motor flooded because the sub pump couldn't keep up with that. So wouldn't the
You're very
first
close.
thing that would be
You're very close. The PVC pipe, not so big, okay? The pipe, that's not the pipe that we replaced. Okay, the pipe we replaced is about that big. That was very flooding. Now, some pieces of large PVC were replaced in conjunction with, other repairs that have been done since we took over. That's not what flooded. If that flooded, this would be a much even bigger discussion. Okay, something about this size that we could do a couple gallons a minute. That's what flooded. When that flood goes to the bottom, that's reasonable that some pump, might be keeping up with that. By design, that's what was installed there for a small leak of groundwater, that kind of thing. The submersible pump in some did not keep up with it, or did not even activate in the first place. We can't tell whether it activated initially or not, because by the time we got to a day that wasn't the ordinary service day, it was about 18 inches from the top of the tank. Now, this is a tank that I can stand in and still have it over my head. This is a big tank.
so it's about 2 months worth of flooding.
This
is
is-
what you're saying.
2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say it would be like 2 months not even. But ordinarily, you would not have that kind of water in there at all.
So it maybe came about when the pipe was installed.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. This happened, we serviced the pool the previous day before this happened. We came back because of a trouble call.
Oh, so it wasn't, there was no
It was
water?
dry, the
Yeah,
previous
exactly.
day. This happened in about 20 hours. This happened in about 20 hours. No, this wasn't like over time. Yeah, it was like that. It's like the second most phenomenal thing I've ever seen. The other was seeing a pool completely drain overnight. Empty, ready to go. In that case, it was a construction pool. The pool was about 6 months old, and it was a place where a plug should have been installed, and there was not a plug installed in the main drain, and it was covered over with the concrete and the interior surface. The core surface it got cut over, and it was up on the hill, and eventually, just overnight, it just gave. And there's one little hole. You know, it was only like 2.5 inches, one little hole, completely empty the pool. That was my first craziest phenomenon. It took a couple days to figure out where to go. And this one ranks right up there.
Okay.
Thanks for the time. Thanks for being so patient.
Really nice to meet you. All have a great night.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and read the minutes from the August meeting.
Meeting was called to order at 6:33 by the decided board president. A quorum of the board of directors was established. Present was Don Hanson, Linda Decided, Rebecca Nadi, Jeff Ditsenek, and Paula present. Also present was Joe Stanoff from Payne and McCullough, and Vanessa Martinez from Legal Management. The meeting notice was posted at the entrance message board and the community clubhouse 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Meeting minutes were read by Vanessa Martinez. Mrs. Sutter made a motion to approve the June 3rd, 2014 meeting minutes. The motion was seconded by Mr. Hanson. All in favor, motion passed unanimously. Ms. Martinez reviewed the management report and delinquency. Mr. Ditsenek reviewed the financials. A list of the accounts delinquent for over 90 days was submitted to the board of directors. Ms. Sutter made a motion to approve the suspension of the attached list. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion passed. Association attorney present to answer full and slide questions. Attorney Joe Stanoff was present and answered questions from the board and members present. The discussion included all the issues that could impact their decision, which were expense to install, impact on reserves, future expense to maintain, future insurance premium increases, possible impact on premiums and coverage in the event of injury and claim, setting aside money for possible deductible charges, liability issues, possible need for additional signage at pool, or at worst need for a lifeguard, likelihood of possible claims giving a chance to cultural trend towards litigation, past claims and injury history, and provision of covering documents that did not require a vote of the membership. Old business, poll slide. After discussion with the attorney, Mr. Ditsenek made a motion to install the slide. No one on the board seconded the motion. The motion did not pass. Mrs. Sutter made a motion to not install the poll slide. The motion was seconded by Mr. Hanson. Ms. Dianati and Mr. President voted in favor of the motion. Mr. Ditsenek voted no. The majority voted in favor of the motion. Motion passed. Board appointments. After a brief explanation, Mrs. Sutter made a motion to not make appointments and wait until the 2015 election. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Dianati. Mr. Hanson and Mrs. Preston voted in favor of the motion. Mr. Ditsenek was opposed. The majority of the vote was in favor of the motion. The motion passed. Tennis courts and basketball refurbishing. Mr. Ditsenek made a motion to award the contract to Cross Courts. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion carried. New violations/rules and regulations. Mrs. Dianati provided the board with a new policy and violations and revised set rules and regulations. The board will review and discuss at the next board meeting. New umbrellas. Mr. Ditsenek made a motion to award the contract to Accent Pools. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Dianati. All in favor, motion passed. New business. Spending tier for repairs and replacements. After a brief discussion, Mr. Hanson made a motion to approve up to $2,000 that the board can approve for repairs, replacements without a board meeting. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion carried. Post-approval repair spending tier. After discussion, Mr. Ditsenek made a motion to cap any board expenditures at $5,000 and ratify at the next board meeting. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion carried. Repair of the north entrance fountain. Mr. Ditsenek made a motion to ratify the approval of the repairs for the fountain. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion passed. Palm trimming. A motion was made by Mr. Ditsenek to approve the proposal submitted by Valley Crest to trim the palm trees. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion passed. The board would like the manager to have the school entrances palm trees removed from the scope and check on the dump fees. Reorganization of the board. Mrs. Sutton made a motion to appoint Mrs. Iannotti as the board secretary and Mrs. Preston as the board director. The motion seconded by Mr. Yatsenik. All in favor, motion passed. Pond maintenance vendor. Two proposals were submitted. After discussion, Mr. Yatsenik made a motion to award the contract to Aquatic Systems. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion carried. Clubhouse exterior ceiling fans. Mr. Yatsenik made a motion to replace the exterior ceiling fans. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Iannotti. All in favor, motion carried. Association manager was asked to contact the electricians to provide proposals for the installation of the fans. Survey of Cypress Lake's property for fencing. Due to a few complaints, the board would like to obtain proposals for a survey in order to consider the option of installing a fence. Patio clubhouse rental. After discussions discussing the form rental for the clubhouse and the patio, motion was made on Mr. Yatsenik to remove the patio rental agreement. The motion was seconded by Mrs. Preston. All in favor, motion passed. Without any further questions from the homeowners and additional comments from the board of directors meeting was adjourned at 9:53 p.m.
Are there any corrections?
I have one correction. On the old business with the pool slide, when Mrs. Siddiq made the motion not to install a pool slide, we're going to add at this time.
Which leaves the window open for potential installation in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other corrections?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, you all said yes.
The latest financial that we have is for as of July 31st. We'll have the August financials as of the 15th of this month. In the month of July, our estimated police receivables was $308,940.49. 5 homes changed ownership in the month of July. There are currently 42 accounts that are going through mortgage foreclosure that are delinquent under assessments. 22 properties have declared bankruptcy. Of these, 9 have been discharged, which we are moving forward with collections. We collected $9,855.49 in the month of July in delinquent assessments. There are currently 46 accounts at the attorney for collections. The association still holds title to 4 properties in the community, and violations were sent in the month of July.
Okay.
If I could just share about the financials a little bit for the month of July. Basically, year to date at this point, we're around $66,000 of net income. Okay, and again, we're a nonprofit and everything. We try to get everything right down to zero. Assessments are based on the fact that whatever we're taking in, we're going to fully spend it, for all areas. The thing is that there's several things that are contributing to this. In the general administrative area, our professional legal fees are $24,000 under budget. Our grounds maintenance is under budget by $13,000, but that's primarily because we haven't done the mulching yet. And I guess we're going to wait until the rain dies down a little bit. Oh, okay. So the mulching project will bring us in line for that particular chunk of expenses. The clubhouse where we were under budget by about $19K because we budgeted to have a fully staffed folks. We had basically 3 staff last year. Now we've got basically 2 here all the time. So, Paulette and Linda are managing that really well. So we're saving a bunch of dollars there. The building maintenance is under budget by $2K, same for utilities. And our revenue is higher than we expected, basically due to the interest on delinquent balances. So having said all that, we're doing really well, and we're going to start spending more money as time goes on. Before the year's over, a lot of this stuff is just going to wash out, and we're going to come really close to zero because we've had a lot of unexpected repairs that are mixed into this, like the motor repairs and things of that nature. One other thing I'd like to mention, I'd like to stress this also very importantly, is that our balances at BBT, again, FDIC only offers $250,000 worth of insurance. They had changed that a couple years ago, but then it was only for a 2-year period, and so now we only got $250,000 in coverage. Now the thing is, our financial system would have to catastrophically decompress and stuff. But the thing is, I think that we need to be good stewards of the HOA's money and have it protected. So I sent out an email late today, said, asking our accounting manager, Nancy Baez, to move $30,000 out of BB&T and put it into our trust bill account. Now, the thing is, we have a trust bill operating account, and the balances aren't as high there. So basically, what we'll do is we'll be under that 250 limit for trust bill, under 250 for the BB&T. I think 30,000 is a good number, because before we know it, in just a few weeks, all the money's gonna start rolling in for the last quarter assessments, like the beginning of October. So if we do that, I think we'll be safe for a while, and we'll have our money protected. I think that's important to do. And then there's just one other small item, and if Nancy can look into it, is that I asked her about a $605 suspense item that's been kicking around for several months. And it just seems like she ought to be able to get to the bottom of that. One of the staff people probably did a journal entry, they didn't know what it was, but it needs to be researched, you know?
What was the name?
605, I copied you on that email too. It's a $605 suspense item. And by looking at all the detail in our accounts, I can't determine what it was about. All I know is that it surfaced in April, and I'm just looking to her for an explanation. So if she can let us know, that'd be great. Hopefully something that can go to our bottom line and back into our. That's it for financials.
After your manager's report and financial, you'll see a list of 63 homeowners that are past due over 90 days. And maybe you can just review it, I just need an approval to suspend the rights.
I started with all them.
No, I mean, there are a lot of them that are rolled over. Yeah, probably the newest ones will be at the bottom.
So we have, the numbers down. When they were in the 80s.
It was like in the 70s. Yeah, so that's not
78, 79.
Can I just make a request on this form? The request would be, could we sort the over 92 in descending order, so that we take these 63 people and just sort it on the column that says over 92? Because that's a problem area, okay? If we could sort them in descending order, that would give us, well, wait a second, I think those. Oh, but no, we got 9,000 down below, we got 18, 5, 12, 11.
Oh, you're talking about the amount.
Yeah, the amount, the dollar amount.
You look at the total, Jeff.
No, I know. Yeah, the total, but the problem area is the over 92 stuff.
Well, but they're all over 92, that's why they're.
Yeah, they're all over 92, they're just,
No, the over 92. Oh, okay.
Yes, they're all over 92 days.
Okay, so the total is.
But the
Okay,
totals are.
All right,
you know,
but let me ask you this. Could we get a total of all 63 people at the very bottom? Grand total, so we have a total with each and every column. So if you add up the total current over 30, just so that, you know, we can see what the total
Okay,
is.
so you want totals like the
Yeah,
bottom.
I mean, we could eyeball it, but I think that's
Yeah.
a long time to
I'd like
eyeball.
that too, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, if we could throw commas in there.
Isn't part of the financials? I think the financial report.
I mean, when you show columns, you always.
I know, but I just,
I know, but Nancy knows what I'm talking about, so just.
I think the big one has that.
yeah, the one
But it's
that,
not-
your financial, this is just so you guys can
Just
approve
a
this.
summary.
Yeah, this is just to approve it, cut them off.
Right, but I want to approve something that I can see totals on. Without totals, it's meaningless. Well, it's not as meaningful, okay?
He just wants to know the totals here at the bottom.
You can kind of want to know this stuff, you just
The
do.
staff wants to
Yeah,
know
you
that
know.
in order.
Let's put our arms around this thing. Let's know what the full nature of this thing is.
Do you hear me?
Okay, so I'm looking for number two things.
Staff wants to know.
Or you can do another sort. That can be the Paulette sort.
I just got here in April.
The Jeff sort was just asking for
Just for
totals
totals.
and for, just to show thousands, okay? That would be helpful. Nancy can do that in a matter of 2 seconds. you know.
This is coming in Excel spreadsheet, because it used to do ourselves. And so,
That's not our job.
I know.
I just need a motion to approve.
Okay.
That would go over.
Do we have a motion to suspend the rights report? Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Yes. Evaluation process, discussion? Do you want to do a question?
The spiel real quick.
Okay, that's fine.
Since we're moved into the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, my name's David Mitchell. I've agreed to help facilitate the audience participation in this meeting, and I think once I decided to take on this job, I wasn't sure if I was going to need this or not, my referee shirt, but hopefully I can keep this in my bag.
You should have brought a helmet.
Bring it down. But seriously, I'm here to try to facilitate the audience input into the board's decision making. I am a professor at UCF in the School of Public Administration. I've been working with local governments and their citizens for parts or all of 15 years. And really the goal that we have here is to try to allow for civil discourse between the board and the members they represent, which benefits everyone by allowing for but structuring our open comments. So the process that I'm going to outline briefly here is derived from Robert's Rules of Order and standard practices for local government public meetings. So basically, here's how we want to try to do the audience participation moving forward, because I know this has been a concern for a lot of people. We do still have the sign-up sheet, so if you're interested on speaking on any item on the agenda that is a voting item, that's an important distinction to make, please sign up, and I'll make sure I go in order for the items that you've signed up for. Each item on the agenda that is up for a vote of the board, there'll be a public comment period before the board begins its deliberations. So each person signed up will be granted 3 minutes to talk on that agenda topic only. You can't trade time, you can't amass time over the course of the meeting. It has to be 3 minutes on that topic specifically. You can offer opinions, state facts, ask questions, but we're just going to go from person to person. There's not going to be dialogue and debate between the board and the audience. They're here to take input from you, and they can then consider that in their separate deliberation after the audience participation. And they're not obligated to respond directly to any speaker. Really, they're just taking the whole input from the audience. So once all the signed up members have spoken, the board will begin its deliberation on the item. There's no public comment after we close it. It goes to the board for their deliberation and vote at that point. The board has the right to add items to the agenda for discussion purposes only. And anytime they're dealing with an item that is just for discussion, not for vote, they don't have to take public comment if they don't want to. It's at their discretion. And really, the only other thing I want to say is that with this room, the acoustics are horrible, and we've got the weight room next door. So please speak loud enough for everybody to hear you. And also, if you have conversations you want to have in the audience, that's fine, but just take them outside so everybody else can hear what's going on in the room. This is the hammer piece of this. Repeated failure to comply with the guidelines may result in removal from the meeting. Don't want to do that, but we do want to make sure we have civil discourse. So, again, this process has been instituted to ensure that everybody has a chance to speak on any matter before the board votes. And the structure is meant to create an environment where we can speak freely in a structured manner, speak one at a time, respect the message delivered, and allow for an efficiently run meeting. So I'll do my best to enforce that ideal for all of us. Okay?
Thank you, David.
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna, just as a refresher, I'm gonna pass around the proposal that I believe we voted on at the August meeting.
I don't think we voted. I don't think we voted on it. No, I think it was just presented, and that was
Okay.
okay. If you want to just kind of skim over it a little bit instead of taking, the time for everybody to read it. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, it's been a while. It was basically you were going to approach.
What this in here basically is.
Can you speak up? It's kind of hard to hear with the gym people back there.
Yeah, it is.
We need a microphone.
Basically, I'm gonna kind of just crunch this and say that we were gonna have the rules and regulations revised. We were going to have the ARC guidelines revised so that everything matches the covenants. We were going to have a cover letter discussing the changes and the what-fors sent out with a copy of the revised, voted on revisions of the rules and regulations sent out to everybody in the community. And then we going to wait for a month so that everybody get caught up on any violations that they have hanging out there. Then we were going to resume violations, and start on a fresh slate.
So you're doing everything?
This
You're
is-
closing everything out?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pretty much wiping the slate clean.
Well, the violations, they go back to 2008, I believe, on a lot of violations. Yes, 2010. And there's no way that you can, enforce anything like that.
So that's basically what this was about. And there was also a piece, and this you can just look at real quick. The most common violations that we come across. And really, there's anything major that's a violation. And in what I've seen, it's more repeat of the same violation, or that violation repeated plus a couple other minor violations repeated, and all that's added up over time. And you can't, I don't see a way we can enforce them. So, that said, and this goes with a copy, and I'll pass that around to you. This was the original copy that was made, I guess, when sort of was a copy.
No, Covenant revised, that was revised. There's a policy that the board can
Rebecca,
Yes.
did you bring
revise.
one of these?
No, but I have your copies.
Get some copies.
Omar.
That is
Our
what
illustrious
these
assistant.
copies
Yes.
are based on. The first one, you can take one and pass it.
Now you've got copies of that.
Can you give us at least 6 copies of these, but somebody in the audience?
Do you want this one, Omar? Do this one also?
Now the copy that's coming around now is a copy if we choose to leave the violation process the way it is, which means that you have your first violation letter come, you have 30 days to resolve the violation. After 30 days, if you haven't resolved the violation, you get another letter and a second letter, and another 30 days to resolve any violations. If you haven't resolved it in that amount of time, you get a third violation letter, third and final violation letter, I should say. And if things are not taken care of in that amount of time, then I believe the process is that the violations come to the board, and the board decides if we send the violations on to the attorney. Is that okay?
Well, you'll get the report, and the report will show you what accounts have been sent about the third notice, and we can go from there. This is gonna be a big report.
Now, can I have you share your experience with accounts of such that have been sent to the attorney, if they are doable? I mean, if the accounts have been resolved.
I think that the reason why, in my experience, is not that you send it to the attorney to see them resolve the violation, is to kind of tell everybody that if you're not taking care of it, you are going to send it to the attorney. I have seen some that get taken care of, but then there's some that just stay at the attorney, and then they send the first notice. It's almost the same process with them. The first notice charges anywhere from $250 to $400, which is cost to the association.
Yeah.
Then you send the second notice that can cost you that was a little bit less because they've already done all the work with the first one. So it's probably like $150 to $300. And you will not recuperate that money until it actually goes to court and you get a judgment. So you kind of have to continue the process to try to collect something on it.
But not all of them.
Not all of them you're going to collect.
Okay.
So you might get the first one that, they'll ask the homeowner to pay when they send out the violations, and you have to pay the attorney this amount of money. But we really can't assess them until you have a judgment. So you don't consider collecting on the legal fees because you're mostly just wanting them to comply. And some people will react once they see a letter from the attorney, but then there's some that are not going to react.
The second one that's coming around is a letter that would read if we decide to have a hearing committee. No, it's different. Okay, there's a second paragraph in that one. From my understanding, a hearing committee and they would be the ones who all the violations would come to. And they would deal with the violations as they saw fit. Now, I'm not up to date on
All the
they-
hearing committee can do is if you're gonna do fines, they'll impose the fines. And if you're gonna take away their authority to come into the pool, go to the clubhouse, they're the ones to turn it off. So they have that authority, but they can't say we're going to the attorney. All they can do is say, we're going to either take away their rights, which is using the clubhouse and turning off their card, or imposing a fine.
So if we had a hearing committee, the hearing committee could turn off, or could okay turning off their car.
Yes, as long as there's another 14-day notice before the.
So it'd be before it went to the attorney.
Right, we can.
Oh, this is for violations.
Right.
violations.
No, I
In
understand
this-
that.
In this case, would it go to the attorney, or would the hearing committee be the end of the line, so to speak?
Well, that's up to you.
That'd be a good.
That's up to you whether you're going to just turn off their amenities and that's it. Just say, okay,
But
or
they
you
can
can
also
put
hand
it
out
down.
fines as well, correct?
Right. And we can only lean on that, on those fines up, once it's reached $1,000.
Okay.
So you can.
Okay.
So
So,
I'd like to have a hearing committee.
that's,
It's my understanding that the hearing committee needs to be comprised of residents
Right.
who are not board members.
Exactly.
Right?
and that's
So
what.
have we had any resident interest in that?
Well, we've never,
Yes.
we haven't worked it out.
Since I've been working with Rebecca on this, I have, kind of put it out there, I've got a couple of people that said they definitely do it.
Because I would like to do
But you're
that.
gonna
I
have
really
to
like to do that.
have more than, I would say at least minimum of 3, but I would suggest maybe
Minimum
5.
of 3.
Okay. Minimum of 3.
Yeah.
If we have enough interest, I'd like to see that happen.
Well, I would
At
like.
least we put some teeth into it.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. I think if we cut their pool their pool privileges and anything in the clubhouse, hopefully that would let them understand that we really, we're just asking them to make their house look decent. I mean, it's not like we're asking, it's their property, they should be proud of it, so. I'd like to do that.
I was going to propose that if we were going to place, not a lien, but a fine, that it be enough that you could build over time, say $25 maybe for the first offense, and if it comes through the second letter, bring it up a little bit.
But you
Well,
can't really
you
put it
can't.
into their account until they're $1,000, so somebody's gonna have to keep track of all the fines that are being put in. Because we can't assess it, so it's $1,000.
Well, wouldn't the hearing committee be able to do that?
But yeah, I think that's something that, as long as they're willing to do it,
Mm.
that's something that they're gonna have to keep track of. And they could do, I think
Because
there's documents do call for like daily fines,
Mhm.
so I think you can
Like
just.
a day, yeah.
For every day
Right.
past the violation.
Mhm.
Now, is this imposed from the first letter, or is it until
No,
after the
it's
third
once-
letter?
Well, that'll be up to you how you wanna have the covenant enforcement policy. If you're gonna send it to the hearing committee after the second or the third letter, I would recommend after the third letter, you send it to the hearing committee. And then whenever they decide they're gonna post that fine, from that date on forward is when they start charging the fine. They don't get retroactive.
Right,
They
right.
charge the fines. They
Right.
just charge the fine on that day, that they have a meeting and they make, because they're gonna probably have to have multiple meetings.
Right.
And they're gonna have to, almost like the ARC committee.
Yeah,
They're gonna
exactly.
meet, they're gonna give me the minutes and say, hey, this is what happened, we post these fines. And basically what happens is, they just have a right to come in front of the committee and say, this is why my violation hasn't been, taken care of, or whatever the case is. There's an opportunity for them to be able to come. And then, the fine committee decides, well, I don't really care about your reasoning, we're gonna still give you a fine, or we're gonna work with you. And then they put that in the minutes, and then we're able to go from there.
They could also extend and say, okay, we're gonna give you another
Oh, yeah,
30 days.
they're the ones, right,
I'd
they're the
like
ones
to
who
work
made.
with people, I mean, if they say they want to do
To
it,
me,
I'll
I
give
would
them.
rather work with the people
Right.
at the end of the day and have a legitimate reason why this hasn't happened, a death, illness, anything like that, and then they could work with them, get it done. All we want is for
Their
everybody
product
to
to
do
be
it right.
Yeah. Do you think that it would be a wise decision to have somebody talk to them or, I don't know, assess their violation and try to discuss why it is that they have a violation after that first letter is sent, then waiting until they come before the hearing committee to intervene and try to.
I never recommend that. I don't recommend anybody going to somebody's house too, because you never know. I mean, we give them the opportunity in the letter to contact us. The letter says, contact us if you're having any issues, if you don't feel that this violation belongs to your home, whatever the case may be. We stipulate that on the letter, giving them the right to contact us. I mean, the communication lines are never cut on, they're always able to call. I mean, if you like, we can put some information there if you want them to call the clubhouse as well, if they can't reach me. I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't know,
Yeah,
there's stuff that we can add,
Yeah,
but I feel like it's not necessary.
If they were gonna
Contact email.
contact the hearing committee, and, I mean, if you get too many different
Well,
people
they would
involved,
have to come before the committee when they have the meeting.
or contact
If
someone.
I could just jump in there,
Yeah.
how about first things first? Let's assess the interest, let's see if we can find three people
Find,
first.
yeah.
We're talking about all those things down the road.
Right.
We can't even do step one, we're not gonna get into step three. So let's just assess the interest here, okay? So, can we put something on the website, can Jeff like post something for us? Hey, anyone interested in being the bad guy? Anyone interested in playing the heavy? You know, I don't know, something, well, you know, you need wordsmith it better than that, but. Do you want to maintain your property values?
Yeah.
Please
Because this
volunteer.
is all that it is.
You know,
She
that's what it's about.
to-
Yeah. So we can do that, we can get something on the website, and then, hey, we get, next meeting, we have interest, hey, we get interested parties, then we can go down the path of what we need to do.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I have filled out a couple of people that have called me about violations, okay, they've actually called me. And I said, okay, how do you feel about a hearing committee? And they say, oh, I would sit on that one. And I said, now you realize what this is? And they said, yeah. So,
Well, I think as long as they handle it nicely, I mean, you know, you're just asking them to do something which they really should want to do anyway, so.
Okay. So hopefully next week we'll have a couple of people.
So you want to wait on that violation till next month? The
Yeah, I
process?
think so.
we'll have to,
Yeah, we'll have to.
until we get somebody that
Oh,
says,
yeah,
yes,
it's
we're
gonna
going
be
to
a
get.
Because we can talk all day about having a hearing committee.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
And my suggestion would be that, you know, we want to be reasonable, but we want to be firm. And I think 3 is way too reasonable, 3 letters.
I think that's a lot.
You know, after the second one, you get no response, then you start, you know, assessing fines, you know. And if people don't answer response, it's like, sometimes people travel for a month at a time, you know?
Yeah,
And
that's
then they might miss that first one, okay, we'll pass, you know, but they can't come up with a reasonable explanation why they're not getting their, maintaining their home. Yeah, that's
Well,
what
and
you know.
I've recently asked Vanessa that question is because about intervening is because I have been houses, you know, that I've been asked to check and talk to them and whatnot. And it seems, from what I have seen, people only, they want to have somebody to listen to them. They're not against doing anything, but until they have a third party that's impartial to the situation to come in and say maybe what you were saying in the first place, but from a different viewpoint and say, well, you know, this might have been what she was looking at, or whatever. That's all they're looking for. And then they'll say, sure, I'll do it, no problem. So I think they're looking for that human element.
Well,
and
maybe
not
if they
so much
request
of
it, if they request it, I can see it. Not, what I was thought you were asking was if you would go, like if you would be the one to go contact them and just, you know, knock on somebody's door and say, hey,
No, but
this is your
it
vice. That's what I
sounds
thought.
like-
I mean,
No,
but if
no.
they request it, I think that that's okay. That absolutely, because I know that she's done it.
Right, right, and what you could do is put something in there, if you are interested in contacting a board member to discuss this, you know, contact you.
Right, and I said that, right.
Yeah.
And then
do
maybe
something
rather
like
than
that,
talk to a board member rather than the manager.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll work on getting people,
that
you want,
everybody,
no, go ahead.
everybody has a updated copy of the rules and regulations in your pack. If you can just take a time between, I guess, now and the next meeting to read over them.
Well, I gave her some changes the last time.
Yes, there's been a lot of changes.
Can I suggest something? Since you're gonna be making changes and you are gonna be having to send out your 14 notice for the budget, you might wanna put that in the notice that you're gonna be approving at the next meeting, and give me the copy to be mailed out with them, so you can see it on the mail. Because you have to mail it out to everyone.
Yeah.
So mail it with your budget,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
rules and regulations, and that way you have one mailing.
Mailing.
It'll be on the agenda to approve both things
When?
October. So I need them like now, like as soon as possible, so that I can include it with the budget.
There is issues with it, so.
Okay, I mean, I was just.
Yeah, that would
just
save money, definitely, I'm all for that, but.
One thing I'd like to do is save some money on the budget. Let's just cut out those stupid coupon books. How many people actually use those things? That's so archaic.
I don't know if I did or not.
It's always come on.
We just get a quick show and tell. How many people use the coupon books here? Does anybody use the coupon books?
Yeah, but we need to make
To me, that's a $5,000 expense.
You have to.
So you're just gonna say,
I never got.
What is
anything.
statute section 20? So it's-
Well, I have to find out, but there it
If you
is.
show me chapter verse, then I'll believe it.
Jeff,
Okay.
Okay?
fair ones, car payments, they send you 3 pieces of paper, no envelopes,
Yeah.
4 coupons on each one. Will cost you much less than $5,000 a year on those coupons.
Yeah. I would
Yeah,
suggest
I
we
mean,
do
I find
something
out
like that.
what's
I mean,
option
if we
is.
gotta do them
Yeah,
something,
whatever option, rather
Yeah,
than
I'd say
spending
that.
1,300 pieces of
Yeah.
paper is not gonna cost $5,000, you know?
You got a printer over here that you can use to print them also.
Well, yeah.
That's correct.
We could use that money elsewhere. you know,
They
so-
take none out of all that,
Well, you, oh,
the bank balance.
all right, well.
Okay.
Well, I've never used
All right.
it.
Are we at the new business?
No,
Look over these
Oh.
and let us know by the next meeting.
Oh, so you
if
wordsmith these
see
little
any-
stuff?
yes.
And see if there's anything in here that, you know.
Yeah, but it's not, clear or. You have
The
to-
information that's in here that was used for the updates was covenants first and the ARC guidelines.
So everything matches. Because people will say, well, it's in here, but it's not in this, so with the ARC, yeah, so it.
And now you're in violation, are you not?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna ask if there's, I'll give it to David and let him.
Are you doing 1 and 2 at the same time?
Pardon?
Are you doing items 1 and 2 at the same time?
Yeah, but yeah, because that was all
Yeah.
done.
All right, Danny, do you have anything to talk about on items 1 and 2?
Yeah, does that require a vote of the community to change the rules and regulations?
No,
No.
Not that to change the rules?
it's not the covenants, they're not changing the covenants of the association, they're just rules that the association can adopt, the board members.
We're bringing them in accordance with the covenants.
Because they don't match the covenants, right?
So how are we gonna find people when we're not even taking care of our own stuff? Shouldn't we do our own housekeeping, make sure all our common property is taken care of before we start telling people they got dead grass and weeds? Yes, no?
They don't have to.
That's why I'm still got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It just seems kind of odd that we're gonna tell somebody you can't have dead grass when we have dead grass spots out in the community, or big weed beds, or issues, or things that need to be pressure washed. How do you hold the residents accountable for something we're not even holding our community accountable for? Your silence speaks volumes to the community that you're telling people.
Don said good
Good
point.
point.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. It's very interesting that we're gonna tell people and spend money on possibly finding, getting attorneys and things, when somebody's gonna go back and bring us back to court and say, you can't charge me when you're not doing it yourself. The community has issues. We've got the same weed beds that are overgrown that look green, they're still weeds that haven't been addressed, and you gotta tell somebody they've gotta fix their grass. This seems kind of odd. I want to make sure if somebody's out there telling somebody that your landscaping's not right, that person is qualified to do so. There's certain plants you can't cut during certain times of the year, and we don't need any Tom, Dick, and Harry come out and saying you got to cut your palm tree or this tree when it doesn't need to be trimmed at that time of the year or it can't be trimmed at that time of the year. We might be opening ourselves up to litigation and fines and us paying out to somebody because we caused them to do something or try to take action against them that we couldn't take. Thank you.
Abraham.
Nothing on the landscaping, but regarding the recreation vehicles and everything else that you're talking about on the street, if I'm not mistaken, streets belong to Orange County, there's nothing that you can enforce on the street. So you went ahead
They're
and put
still
over here
in the
on,
tweaking.
I'm sorry?
They're still in the tweaking. These are not the
This is
finalization,
not
okay?
In driveways applies though, right?
Driveways, yes,
Yeah.
on the street, there's
Yeah,
nothing
but
that
on
you
the
can do.
street, there's nothing.
Between the sidewalk and the roadway, that's what counties do.
Right.
Just like that.
It's Abraham's time.
I'm good.
Jeff? No. Okay, Kelly?
Yeah, I just want you to be wary of if you're gonna be sending out letters, the houses that have people recently moved into foreclosures, because my welcome to the community letter came 30 days after I was living in the house and my grass was dead. The house hadn't been lived in for 3 years. Of course the grass was dead. The bank wasn't keeping up with it, and it was gonna take more than 30 days to bring dead grass back to life. So I would hope that whoever's on the committee, or before you're sending out these letters demanding money right off the bat, that you're looking at, somebody just buy a recently foreclosed house, or did somebody buy a house from somebody who had been a deadbeat before them? Because that, just because they bought a house and they're trying to improve it, doesn't mean you should inherit a problem right off the bat. That's gonna make them be very resentful, because I know I called up Vanessa, bitching and swearing off the bat, you know, my husband was out to sea. And that was my welcome to the neighborhood letter. So my one issue with the sending out a $25 fee right off the bat is make sure they didn't buy a foreclosure or didn't buy a house from the deadbeat that haven't been paying their bills or doing their grass for the past 2 to 3 years.
I wish we could check, I don't know, would there be a way to check and see, how it's taken care of, you know, kind of coordinate how it's taken care of before? Because I see your point
Yeah.
completely.
Well, my guess is though,
Maybe a
once
song.
someone is notified, you know, that there was a problem and stuff, it's up to the homeowner to like voice their concern and say, listen, I've got an issue here, I got a deadbeat former owner, and then I'm sure we're gonna be reasonable about it, but if no one communicates with us, then you know what, the process just goes on.
I understand that, and my thing is, I'm from New England and I'm not afraid to say something.
Okay.
There are people who are less, what's the word you used, Danny? Hey! Less, voice, that would be less likely to voice their opinions.
Yeah.
I know several Coast Guard wives that their husband was out to sea would never have made that call. And, they grew up in the South. So I just think it's, you know, from where I grew up, I just was like, hell no, that's not happening. But somebody else getting the letter, they may not be as forthright in their rights.
It's a good point. It really is.
So, I mean, I would just maybe cross-check that to recent sales. I mean, Vanessa was able to tell you how many sales just went through, how many houses just
That's true, so
transferred.
we can have somebody to
We
look at.
have, yeah, we have.
So we keep an eye on those houses maybe and see, yeah.
I mean, especially the ones that they're saying that the grass is rampantly dead. I mean, chances are nobody's lived there for a while. Because I mean, there's a house near me that the whole thing looks like, you know, a jungle.
Yeah.
And nobody's lived here since I've moved in.
It'll be a process.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't tweak that.
That's awful.
So is that it?
Is there any other
Yes.
public comment on these first 2 items? New violations and the bringing the rules and regulations in accordance with the covenant? All right, so I'll turn it over to the board.
Okay. Next item under new business is to choose the electrician to install patio ceiling fence from proposal to paint. And we have 2. Everybody should have those handy.
I just got a copy from Dollar today.
Yeah.
If I could just facilitate this, I'd be glad to do so. We got one estimate from Dollar to install 6 patio fans for $375, and we got an invoice from Dan Bracewell for $350 to install 6 ceiling fans also. You know, having looked at the 2 of them, there's only $25 between them. I've had better experiences with Dollar than I have with Dan. My recommendation would be to go with Dollar, but if other people feel differently, now's the time to talk about it.
He has a disposal fee here.
That's if we.
If we
let
yeah.
them.
If we let
I
him
think
do it.
that Omar could like throw them in the dumpster for us maybe, or someone else.
As long as it's on a day.
Yeah.
As long as it's on a day.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they could just make a pile
Right after they
of
empty.
somewhere, you know?
We
And,
could get it and get somebody to come on up.
We could each four of them take one home, put it out.
Put it out around the house.
well,
Yeah. Well, there's only $25 difference. Does anybody have any? Dan usually, he's been doing our electrical. I know he came in and did our electrical, outlet here that we had fire pop out of.
Yeah, and I have a as well.
And fried the.
Fried.
Last
Yes,
year, Omar
fried the vacuum cleaner. Yeah.
that's not good.
No.
He told me to.
So we had to make sure, have somebody come down there and check it out. Before they, and have to get it.
Do we have dollars did stuff for us before? So we have our insurance, everything. Okay, cool.
Yes, they work here before.
Somebody can make a motion?
Have we purchased the fans?
No, we haven't, we're waiting on getting the
Getting this?
the
Okay.
price for the installation,
But,
so then we can go.
both of these electricians know what style of fan we're gonna go with, right? Or basically, honestly. I mean, it's not beyond their, I mean, they know how to.
Well, they have their exterior, it's on their
They know
exterior
their
fans.
Oh, they're like, you all
Well, they
listed
say
for wet areas?
patio
Yeah,
fans.
okay.
Patio exterior
So we're
fans.
gonna buy them, give them to this person, they're gonna
And
hang.
they're gonna,
They're
We're
just
gonna
gonna
buy
come.
directly.
that way we buy direct, there's no markup on
With the
the product.
clubhouse, with the clubhouse credit card, yeah.
With no markup.
She and I are supposed to go do it,
Yeah.
unless you're gonna do it too.
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. You do.
I'm not that side of it, right?
I mean, I could make a proposal that, or a motion that we go ahead with dollar to get the 6 patio fans installed once we do the purchase. And my stipulation would be that this happens within the month before the next board meeting.
Yes.
You know,
She'll not.
unless there's any more discussion, I think there might take place.
No,
Yeah, I said-
no,
We open.
I've got 3 people signed up for everything, so Danny, Abraham, and Jeff. Going once. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I just want to say, I deal with dollars all the time, all day.
Yeah.
Like, they do all the work for my company.
You're happy?
They're great.
Oh, good.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Any other comments, questions? Okay.
Jeff, you made a motion?
I did.
Who seconds it? I'll second. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion is carried. And I see.
I'll sign this. Okay, the next, the next one is, huh? Motion? Okay.
I thought we approved item number 3 like
No,
2 months ago.
that was for another one.
That was, this is for Judy, we've got no
This is the
staff
new
for Judy.
the new
She's
person.
only been on board how long?
Couple months.
It's
Months.
3 months, September the, 50, or somewhere mid September. I looked that up the other day, and I thought, whoa.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Wow.
It is, we.
I have no
it's
point of view, I
7.6
mean,
now.
I just saw her once, I haven't even.
I'll tell you what, that woman cleans.
Yeah, that's a good job.
The first day
Mention
she,
these.
the first day she was here, I came to the block, she was on her hands and knees mopping this floor, I'm thinking, oh my God.
Yeah, she is an excellent.
The old ones are good too.
Yeah.
You know, the other staff's good too.
Now, who's the last dollar raised for? Is that Omar?
So
It's kind of.
don't say anything bad about it.
Yeah.
He's got ears, he's
Okay.
listening.
Well, if you guys feel, that, you know, the way they're
Yeah.
walking,
Yeah.
so if you feel, I mean, is there any other discussion, you know?
Anybody?
No, she
Make a
will be.
motion. We need a motion to
We
do
need-
good.
From the audience?
Yeah, I think we just need to come up with something instead of just saying, we don't know how long, 3 months, 6 months. Most businesses usually do an annual review or raises.
It's not.
So maybe we need to put something that we follow a set of rules, but 3 months seems kind of quick.
Do we have anything right?
She does a great job. I do agree she does a really good job, and probably maybe should have started out more.
I'm not aware of any policy.
I'm not either. It's just that, it was.
We started these out, if I can say, we started like Omar and Judy out at a lesser price than our other staff that was
It's
earning
kind of the probation period.
for probation to see if they were gonna stay, if they were gonna work out, so, and such. So after like 60 days, and hers is nearing her 90 days. So, that's what we said, we would raise them up. I believe we discussed this at a board meeting. I don't know that it was a vote. I don't remember that. But I think we discussed it, that we would raise it up, because Jeff had said, let's start them out at whatever the amount was. But we said start it lower, and then we'll move them up to that after the probationary period.
I think most probationary periods are 90 days.
Yeah.
You know, and most officers are 90 days.
Yeah, so, I mean,
No, I don't think.
and then they get an annual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we just maybe put into the minutes that, we have a 90-day, we decided that 90 days would be reasonable
Yeah.
to assess how their performance, and if they feel.
And her
the
90
raise
days
is
will
worth
be
it.
between the board
The
meetings,
two
so,
board meetings,
yeah,
so.
so that's what we're bringing up
I
now.
think it's like the 15th, but I'm not positive. I can look at the
As long as she's
calendar.
doing a good job. and
She's
she
doing a
feels
great
that it's
job.
worth it, then, hey,
She's doing a great job.
All right, any
Other questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none?
Okay. Who's making the motion for the?
I'll make a motion that we approve the $1 raise for our new staff member. Clubhouse.
We need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, next thing, we need to have budget discussion on the scheduling. I know Don has brought it up that he wants to have a separate meeting before the actual budget meeting to put everything together. Don, you wanna
I think
go
if
with that?
we get together, Jeff, we tried to do this with email last time. It kind of worked, but it took forever.
It was, yeah.
So if we could just get together, we've got, Nancy sent us the draft, and then we
Did you
can work on the
receive it?
draft. And there's not that many items. I feel if we just sit down together and go line item by line item down this thing.
Okay, and can I offer my opinion on this whole deal? Number one, it's too early. Number two, the budget that she sent us is only 6 months. She's got 7 months of year-to-date financials, and she only gave us 6 months and just multiplied times 2 out of convenience. To me, it's just a starting point that, again, it's an example of not a very well thought out budget, okay? What I propose is that before we schedule any meeting, we all look at what we've spent year-to-date so far, okay? And then look at last year's budget, okay, and just kind of see, the budget columns there, you can see our actuals. And then using that information, I can go and say, the August financials are going to come out pretty soon, like in another 2 weeks. I think it's better to use the most updated information that we have. Take that, all I'll do is, it's not going to be rocket science, I'll just take that total number for year-to-date September, divide by 9, multiply times 12, we'll have an annual number. That'll give us a starting point. We'll tweak it up or downward as we need to. And then, if there's something in particular that you feel that needs to be done next year, say like, we got to plan a whole bunch of annuals or something, and you know that, hey, this year we didn't do that, but next year we ought to do that, then, if there's something that's really, like last year, Mandy brought up, well, we should do the tennis courts and stuff. Well, we put money in the budget for that, but it was very hectic, And I would suggest that if there's something that you see that needs to be repaired or replaced, go out there and start chasing out a couple of proposals, at least 2 proposals. And, if you've got a little pet peeve, or not a pet peeve, but a pet project that you think really needs to be done, go out there and get some proposals. And then you come to the meeting with that information, then we'll kick it around and discuss it. And that'll make for a meaningful process, Or if you see something, hey, year to date, we know that we're not going to be spending that kind of money on security and stuff, but you think, well, you know what, maybe we do need extra help on the holidays or something. Whatever it might be, come with meaningful comments about each and every line item. And then we can have a really good meeting. And then we can put something together, and I won't be going scrambling at the last minute and stuff, because I'm happy to pull it all together and stuff. But I think it's a little premature to use what we have right now. I would say, give it 2 weeks. I can go before the next board meeting, can annualize everything, and I would say that maybe after the next board meeting, in the month of October, I know you like to get it done sooner and stuff.
Well, it's just
but-
because of the coupons that we're going to be
But we're not going to use the
out.
coupons this year. We're going to use the one pager with
But
4
we still
little
have to
things.
send out a notice to them, letting them know it's approved.
Well, yeah, but you know what? The thing is, as long as they get it before January 1st, that's the way I look at it. I don't want to wait till the last
Well, it has to
30
be 30 days.
30 days,
It's
okay.
not surprising, know when they're due.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I don't want to be the one
And the thing
caught in that fire.
Right.
It is.
So we got to send it out by December 1st, right?
Yes, but there's also processing from our end.
We-
So it's not like I can just give it to them.
We're going to make 1,268 copies off the copier, so.
Okay.
I think we should have
I
those
can
coupon
let
books,
you know.
And you know what? We can send that to the residents, say, you know what? In the interest of saving our HOA, $5,000, which will be spent on something more meaningful, we are sending you a one-pager, cut each page, cut one corner off each, send it with your payment, we're good to go.
Okay, what if they
That's
throw
a
that,
great-
the
that's
TV
a-
out, they tear it off?
Fairlands does
You put
it.
the
Well, in the
coupon on your refrigerator with magnet.
Well,
Which one?
yeah.
What do other,
They stick that in
HOAs?
somewhere.
They all do
All
coupons?
associations.
With their own association.
Isn't that the cheapest the coupon books are? Because 5,000 is a lot of
Yes,
money.
because it's BB&T and they're coded. So they're going through an automatic, like if they're mailing it in, it goes automatically to a system and they have to read that barcode. It can't just be something that you print out. It has to be done by the bank. It has to have their barcode.
Because if you do that, and then people, no, listen, they're gonna be upset if it does not get posted to their account.
Believe me.
If
it's
that collection
read.
calls, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to give it to you.
Yeah.
We've already had some.
We send them out to Jeff.
Jeff,
Well, wait a second, okay, so you're saying,
Wait a
okay, Leland doesn't have the capacity, like.
We
someone-
don't do them. They're done through the bank because they have to have their
Well,
code.
couldn't we just have the residents send their checks to BBT? And,
Well, that's their option. The coupon has the
For-
information to the bank.
okay. But couldn't that be printed on a piece of paper?
I'm gonna find out if there's a cheaper way to do it. I know that there's an option where I think what we did last year was send out the budget with the coupons, which is extra cost. We can eliminate the budget being sent with the coupons. That's gonna be that's gonna be a savings to the community.
Yeah.
Already in itself.
They use special micro ink,
Yeah. Oh,
which is red at the bank, which is what they're charging $5,000 for.
But I think also, like I said, I included in there is the budget. So if we remove the budget being mailed out with the coupons, you're gonna save, I'm sure, like $2,000.
Really?
did you know that the budget was included in the coupons? Have you guys realized that?
I don't
Did you?
pay attention to it, but I use coupons.
I can't remember.
Okay, that could be a meaningless piece of information.
That's what I'm
posted
saying, we
on-
can take it
The
off.
budget is on the website.
Right.
So, if somebody wants it, they can go out there and look at it. I just happen to use it a lot, so I know where it is.
I'm really interested in saving some money, but it's like, whatever we can do, I really think.
And I suggest for your budget, if you guys want to have a budget workshop, I mean, you're
Yeah.
more than also welcome to talk to Nancy, have her at the office, and we can all do it and just post a meeting.
Well, the
And
only
it's
problem
just-
with having it there is Jeff would attend and
No.
possibly.
Yeah, I work in Melbourne and stuff, that's not gonna be, during the week, it's like.
We gotta have to do this with Jeff's convenience. Whatever's convenient for Jeff, that's where.
Well, I was just facilitate Nancy.
Yeah.
I would suggest that we just come here,
Yeah.
we'll come up with all the information.
So when do you want to do this?
Well, I would suggest that, let's say, okay, the financials are gonna be out right around the 15th, 17th, right around there sometime,
A
right?
week after the 15th?
Yeah.
Of what? We're talking September.
Okay, so what we're gonna need to do then is we come up with certain ideas and say that Rebecca says, okay, we gotta do a special landscaping project, or I think this is important. We'll all come with our various ideas of what we think needs to be done over and above what we've done the current year.
Right.
And then our task will be to walk away from that meeting. We all agreed that we want to go down that path. You're responsible for getting the proposals, okay? And likewise, Paulette, if you need some stuff done, okay, you just get your proposals and stuff. And then we'll come back, reconvene in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, early October. Then we can then say, okay, we got all the numbers, let's decide, let's choose which proposal we think is the best, and then we can flush out the budget and stuff, and then we can just finalize it.
So can we tentatively set this for the last week of September then? You want to do that?
I guess so. See, I don't have a calendar
I don't
here.
have my calendar, but it's in my.
The last, you're talking about the
Today's the
22nd or the 29th?
29th would be the last. Well, then the board meeting is the next week.
And I'm
The
gonna-
26th is a
I'm gonna
Friday, I know that, so.
Yeah, this-
It'll be be a workshop anyway, I mean, it's not gonna be.
29?
The studies to be posted as a meeting.
Yeah.
It does?
Yes, if you have a quorum of the board, and you're gonna be,
Yeah.
especially discussing finances, you have to post
You have to
it
post it.
48 hours.
And I will, believe me, we won't meet and it'll not be posted.
You're not gonna be at the October meeting, which is what, the second? No,
The 7th.
7th. Okay. So we do need to meet before that.
Or we could meet, I'm going out of town the 4th, so we could meet
You can be back on.
the 11th,
Okay, the first Tuesday is what day?
the 7th.
7.
Right, and then we just push forward.
You'll be back by the, you know, 14th. That would give us more meaningful information. This way, if we met for a budget meeting like on the 29th or 30th, then we've got like almost 15 days, about 2 weeks, pull our proposals together, and then, well, I don't know, do you want to bring it to the meeting? To the regular board meeting?
We have to, because if we all meet, it has to be.
Yeah, it would be
It
a-
will be noticed if we all, if.
In other words, the first meeting is a workshop, we'll bring all our stuff together and start banging out some numbers.
Yeah.
And then you'll go finish it and then bring it to the next board meeting and then.
Well, the thing is that, okay, we're not gonna know what the dollars are. You know, we're not gonna know what the dollars are on September 29th and 30th. That's the information that we're all gonna have homework on. And then we'll come back to a regular board meeting and we can decide at the board meeting
Yeah.
which particular items we need to vote on. We can have a list of items and we can, you know, hey, Paulette's got 2 proposals, 3 proposals. And
Right.
her recommendation is, let's go with this. We're all in agreement. We looked at, we had a chance to review it. We make a vote. And then I can take that information, all our decisions, and bake it into the budget. And then by the end of October, early November, I'd say by 1st of November, we can nail it. Because it might be a little back and forth. And that'll give her plenty of time to get it done by December 1st.
She's over here.
Okay.
Every year.
Every-
We go through this every
You had this discussion
year.
every year.
Every year.
Okay, so we're gonna
If we
have.
target by November 10th, that'll give you like 20 whole days.
Nice
Right.
neat
Vanessa, when do the other communities, when do they normally have their budgets done?
We have to finish all of our budgets per lien by the 25th of October. All
But
of
when
our
do
budgets
most
have to be done.
HOAs have theirs done?
I have all my meetings scheduled by September, beginning of
September, October? Okay.
That's when all of my budgets are done. And again, the reason why I would like for you to send out a meeting notice with the budget, showing everyone this is what's gonna be
Yeah.
voted on at the meeting. But if you don't give me a budget to send out, I can't send it out in the 14 days.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I'm trying to make sure that you guys have everything out to the people.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna have a tentative workshop.
What I
for
can do
budget
is,
at the end of September.
to help you guys out, I can
Notice.
have Nancy work on the budget with the new numbers from the August financials.
Which one?
So I can have her send you guys a revised proposed budget with those numbers instead of the 6 months, and she can go off the 8 months.
Okay.
And then you guys can start working from there. That way you guys don't have to do that and it just cuts you a step.
Well, that'll help. That'll help.
So I'll get with Nancy.
But she's got to annualize the August numbers.
Right. I'll have her put the actuals for 8 months, have her divide it.
By
and then-
8,
Right.
5 times 12, you know, so like that, okay.
So I'll have her revise the budget and send it to you.
So for what day you
What
want
day?
it?
29th, 30th.
Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, 29.
29th.
I mean, that works for me.
Okay.
That's good for
And
everyone.
that's a Monday.
And you can't get here sooner than 7.
I could make it 6:30 maybe. That doesn't help a whole lot.
I'm not gonna do the 29th, during this meeting, because you do the 30th, but I'm gonna be out of town.
If you want to hear, I mean, we don't have to have
It's
it.
just a workshop.
We're just
Yeah,
banging
yeah,
our-
yeah, it's just a
I'm just
workshop.
saying, if
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
it to be.
Yeah, we're not gonna do anything, we're just gonna open the meeting, bang the numbers, and close it.
We're just not
Okay.
gonna. Okay.
So we have like a regular board meeting or? I've never
You
had
do,
a
just,
workshop.
just,
It's
the
just have to post it.
Post it.
And, so that everybody can attend. 'cause
Yeah.
it's-
Right.
yeah.
So we'll send out.
The only thing on the agenda is us just talking about the stuff that we're gonna.
And that's when was it, 29, which one did you say?
29th.
29th. Monday.
Let's give him the time, yeah.
Seven's fine.
Okay. Did we have last meeting, was that 6:30? I thought it was.
The
The one
attorney
before.
was 6:30,
Yeah.
I was trying to get that done. But we can do it, if you can make it by 6:30.
We're just trying to accommodate,
I
we
can
all
do
are
6:30.
in here. You wanna do 6:30? All right.
I'm retired, I'm old. year-end.
Okay, no.
Yeah, there you go.
6:30, September 29th is going to be the workshop for the budget. A board workshop.
Now Nancy will be able to, yeah, so she'll be able to get us the August annualized financials probably by the 17th, 18th, you know,
Right.
a couple days after
Yeah.
that.
I'm sure by the 15th it'll be, what else is the 15th? 15th is a Monday. That's a Monday. She should have it too by that Monday. And then I'm sure she'll work on the financials on that week.
Could I just bring up a couple things, you know, I know that when we read the minutes, I remember we talked about last meeting about a survey, you know, of our property. Do we have proposals for a survey?
You know,
I haven't done
I did contact a few survey companies.
You haven't gotten back to
over
us?
the phone, but it's probably gonna be over $2,000 when I'm on the phone, but I'm still waiting for
Okay.
it.
Well, we gotta get something right. Are they just really busy this time of year or what? No?
Well, with residential, not commercial, but the these commercial people don't really want to work.
Okay, well, could we get those survey proposals by, I mean, we've been kicking this
We can
around.
have it, yeah.
Just so we know where our boundaries truly are, and then if we need to put up a fence, we can make that decision, but we need to know where the boundaries are.
I'll email what I get to them then.
Okay. And also, I'll forward it.
The other thing I just wanted to, I just want to understand a little bit better. I know cross court, we decided upon that and everything else, and I saw something about tentatively scheduled for November.
Yeah, and I asked Vanessa.
Is it, or is it scheduled for November?
It's scheduled for November.
But they're
we
gonna
don't
try
have
to
a
do it
date.
sooner. They don't have an exact date in November because of their schedule and what they have. I'm just telling you what they're saying. And I have it in writing. I have it in writing.
Do they want our business or not? Let's
Well,
get a date from
yeah,
them.
Jeff, you gotta remember, they're at the mercy of the rain and other things.
It's true,
So,
but you know what, let's give us a date, and if you gotta move it forwards or backwards, you know, we'll be
An
reasonable about
expected
it.
date.
But I wanna make sure that we're on the
Just
calendar.
ask them if we can
You know?
have an expected date.
An expected date, and we understand that it may have to be changed.
Okay.
Because I asked when I got here tonight, do we not have a date?
All we know is November, and if they can, they'll move it into October. But that's it, that's all we know.
That would look pretty nice, the blue and the green on the
Blue
outside,
and green, yeah.
white stripes.
I just
Yeah.
saw one of those on TV, they had a tent spread, they had the blue and green, I said, man, that's what
It's gonna look really sure, yeah. Okay. All right.
And they're,
And-
cross court's subbing out all the other stuff, the repairs of the fence.
The only thing I think they're subbing out is the fence.
Fence, okay. And they're handling the cranks and
Mhm.
the.
Yeah.
Now, are they doing the mechanisms on the doors or something, or no?
I don't, you mean the stand, no,
No,
that,
not
they
the
don't do
scans.
those, we would have to do those.
That's gonna be an extra.
And that is
The key
my,
card.
yes,
Oh,
I would
that's not
really,
good.
no, but I would really like that because I do know that other communities come here and use our tennis courts. So that's something that.
Maybe we can
put
put
in
that
their
into the budget
Yes.
for next year.
We
That should
just need to
definitely
get
be paid.
proposals for that,
Yeah.
putting it on there.
But now, what about those benches? There's supposed to be some benches we're gonna install.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they gonna do it, or are they gonna start?
They're gonna do it.
They're gonna, okay.
Everything.
We do that, they're gonna put new hooks in the center, the
Cranks.
nets.
New nets.
And
Now, do those nets gonna need to be like lubricated or something, or maintained so they don't rust out?
we'll have to find out how to maintain those once they put them in, because that's another issue there.
And we should add that to the maintenance list for the clubhouse crew here, you know? You know, if they do that every single month, they just take a look at it, if they need some, I don't know, grease or WD-40 or something, you know, we won't be replacing
Yeah,
these things
because
next year.
the cranks out there, nobody knows where the handles are to crank them. So they've
We
been
need to
gone for
find
a long
out what the
time.
process is or what to use. and
Yeah.
stuff.
They may need wax put on the top of that.
So the only other things, I saw a bunch of emails regarding potential lights at the basketball courts.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, oh, I mean,
Is there any
yes.
discussion on that stuff?
Well, it's not on the agenda, but, you know.
I figured I'd bring it up, I mean, there
Yeah.
there's a lot of interest in that. but-
Yeah, there is. I called, I have already called, I made a call to Duke Energy. They are going to have an engineer call me, and they are going, then they will send them out, and then they'll give us an estimate. And they do any kind of repairs for free. There's no charge on that, but of course, they're on timer. She said there's different lights, and I just, you know, got back.
And that's what the basketball
today.
or the
Basketball and the
tennis.
tennis, because I've got people saying that too about the tennis. Guy stopped me out there tonight and said, can we get lights out here, please?
Yeah, she and I discussed where to put them because there's houses, you know.
But I don't, the way they aim them, I
The way they aim them would hurt us.
But, yeah, I'll let everybody know as soon as I get that information, okay? But it's just, it's out there now, so they're gonna be calling me. Okay, you wanna open this up for any kind of comments for the budget?
Sure. The last item, really just discussing the budget process and specific items to be added for next year's budget, which I think we should also recognize there'll be other opportunities to speak on the budget down the line. Anybody at this point?
Yes.
I have a question. So, seeing as how the slide, I guess, is not going back in, the money that we've been paying into for the slide replacement, what is happening with that money?
Okay, well, right now, the money that was basically designated for the slide, you know, to get it reinstalled, we kind of like stipulated tonight that, or reiterated that, the board decided not to reinstall the slide at this time. It doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. So there's still money, there's still $75,000 in the reserves. So it's sitting in our bank account collecting a little bit of interest. And so it's still available for the future. I mean, if a future board, say none of us, say there's like there is a board meeting next year, annual board meeting, and you know, some of the people that are here roll off, or when people are elected, we decide to go with something, whatever might happen, and they decide to install a slide, well, you know, the dollars are going to be there. Or if they decide they want to do a splash pad and we want to revisit that, okay, but the monies are there. It's not going to get refunded to the residents, but it will be available.
I just want to make sure it's not getting spent on anything other than what it was.
Right. Well, and you know what? The board could potentially decide, a future board could potentially decide, hey, you know what? We're never going to install a new slide, and we want to use that money elsewhere on another project. But you know what? That'll be their decisions. It won't be ours because we made a decision not at this time. So, but don't. You know, the money is still there, and it's not going anywhere. We're not going to spend it frivolously. So.
Is there any reason we don't go with Orange County Property Appraiser and just get the survey from them that shows our boundaries instead of paying somebody a couple $1,000s and doing it at their convenience?
I don't know what's official. I don't even know.
That is the official one.
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed since Cypress Lake was incorporated and the property was there. It's
If I were to
accurate.
buy a house, you have to have a survey. The bank won't accept Orange County, because I don't know. You have to have it surveyed to.
That's residential though, so
Huh?
if you're doing a house, I mean.
Yeah, but it's still.
So we can check.
I wouldn't know who to talk to be honest with
Does
you.
Orange County come out and do something?
Just
Orange
check.
County, the property appraiser has the boundaries of
It's
it.
the official bond.
Anytime you call them, they can tell you exactly how many feet from where to where
Okay.
is your boundaries. So there's no sense of doing that. My second question is, we're talking about a fence. A fence where?
Well, I don't know what we're talking about fence. I thought that
It
was.
was just mentioned, it just,
I might have misspoke though.
okay.
I thought that survey needed to be done before we would even consider putting up some sort of barrier or something, or fence or
You
whatever.
gotta
it
watch
might
what you say, just barrier.
be. Barrier.
Okay, now you're putting the cart before the horse. You're gonna survey something before you even talk about what is even out there. And if anybody doesn't know, the fence serves zero purpose other than direct them around. All Bill Flow's gonna do is kick the fence in, cut the fence. That's a total waste of our funds because it will do nothing. It'll be broke within a week.
That's not what I
No.
Okay. Oh, well, I think it's good for us to know what the boundaries are. If we can get it for free from the Orange County.
We can get it for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we should have. The HOA should have that somewhere in their possession. The man who were before
We have
legal,
a
they
plat.
should have what our property is.
But we have a plat that shows exactly what the community is, but if you want to install something, you do have to have the survey. So that's the reason why we even considered this survey.
But again, like Jeff said, you don't put the cart before the horse, you don't look at the survey and not determine you're even gonna put anything in, so you just
Right.
wasted money on a survey for something you never put in. So maybe you should decide what the options are for anything, if there is an option.
Anyone else?
For,
Yes, ma'am.
What area are you guys talking about? Is that the area that they've been talking about, by the flow?
I think that's an aerial question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of everybody, but I'm just doing research now.
I can tell you, Orange County, I talk to them all the time, they can tell you exactly down to the inch where our property begins. The big thing is gonna be putting those concrete barriers going there by the mud hole, it's gonna keep the vehicle traffic out. People are gonna jump at the barriers and walk in, they're gonna wanna walk in, there's no way to keep them out, you put a 10-foot chain link fence in there with barbed wire, you're gonna cut the fence, go on, pull it out, go under, go over, it's not gonna stop you.
So are they,
it's not done, because that's not even an agenda.
That's right.
Did you still have a question?
Well, I
You still have some
kinda
time.
It's supposed to be discussed on the budget.
Sure, okay.
Are you guys, what do you guys think doing with the area he's talking about? Are you looking at concrete barriers? Isn't the county putting?
They're putting them in for free.
They're doing it for free, so.
The item was raised as a new discussion by a board member, so you're at, it's at your discretion if you want to respond or not.
Okay.
Need a survey or something.
Right, we don't have it.
There's a lot of people that want to know when our next garage sale's going to be, so the date schedule.
Correct.
Oh, let's see, when does it usually,
It's in October usually, it's usually around the first Saturday.
April and October.
They want to know if you guys come up with an exact date, because people need to ask off for work, they need to do things
Yeah.
like that.
When is it usually?
We can send something to the website.
Yes, it is in October.
Usually the first Saturday.
Okay, so it's the 4th. It's October the 4th, it'll be on the website. That was easy. All right. I don't wait.
All
I'm
those.
30.
All right.
October the 4th is the,
This is a record.
is the
Thank you, David, very much.
Thanks all of you.
Yes, okay.
signs,
Sign
what's
something
up?
extra.
Well, not me